renowned for. Everybody remembers him. He had the guts for the first time to play Schubert in a big competition. And he won, I'm sure, probably one of the assets he had because it was extraordinarily beautiful. And he played some Beethoven, and ever since then, he has been on my mind to come back. I know it took a long time, my apologies. We are already booking for 2037. People want to come, people want to be here, and it's a great opportunity to introduce a lot of people who have not been seen in America. So my hunt is all over the world. So please, these bios with you, you can do the internet and everything. It is a phenomenal performance, so you have to come on Saturday night. And he's a great teacher. Absolutely. I
very impressive, very polished. Congratulations, especially for the third movement, for the second movement, sorry. Do you want to use this? Yeah. Okay. How would I pronounce your name? Sean. Sean. Yeah. Let's do Sean, okay? Yeah. I'm Avi. Sit down, yeah. For the second movement, sorry, which is a very difficult movement to comprehend, to understand, and to execute. Technically, it's also very uncomfortable. I rather play Appassionata last movement than to play this, you know. It's just this wrist modulation of the wrist, but somehow it all made sense when you played, and I kind of want to, I don't want to touch it at all, and I don't want to touch the first movement, but they pay me to come here and to say something, so I have to do something. But as it is, the first and the second complete a very good interpretation, and you've played that before many times, I assume? This is your first public performance? No. You've done it before, right?
Yeah, like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, 2.5 years ago, or weeks ago. Yeah. That was your first performance?
Maybe second.
Okay, so you've played it before. That's what I'm saying. Okay, good. It sounds like that. I have a list of small things, and I want to start actually from the second movement. And if you don't mind, then we go back to the first movement, all right? I hear this kind of interpretation from you. Maybe it's my imagination, but I hear that you're doing this. Some kind of separation. Some kind of a little bit of timing there. Ti-da-pam. Is this something that you want to do? You want to kind of define it a little bit, articulate it?
It's like sometimes I notice that the first time I think it's the eighth note and
yeah, I'm not, of course. I'm not talking about the last note. I'm talking about the whole, all these three notes, tam, pam, pam, right? It always feels like you're doing ta-ra-pam or ta-ram-pam. There is it's never together as one unit. It's always two parts. The first bar, and then short or long note, the last one, the third one. Is it something that you wish to do? You want to define it like that?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I think it's over-articulated sometimes, you know? And you played very clear. Everything was completely understandable in the hall. I was sitting also far away. Could hear all your ideas and all your intentions, sometimes over-expressed, yeah? So I would consider it one unit, ti-yap-pam, or ti-yam-pam, or ti-yam-pam, right? But never ti-yam-pam. Never separate between the second and the third note. You understand what I'm saying, right? Okay. You want to try it one time? So. Ti-yam-pam. Yeah, try to be very normal about the way you released. And not too quick, and not what you did before. That. Just normal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Yeah. And stay in forte. And then. And. Right. So you always have to sound one voice against another. Not two voices in forte and one voice in piano. One voice. So I'll play the forte. No. You don't understand the game. Very good. Has to sound like that, I think, you know? And there is another thing that you like to do. You wait a little bit too much between he and she, or she and he. Ti-ram-pam, ta-ti-da-ra-ta-ta. There is a little bit of delay there that Beethoven already wrote. He wrote it. You extend it a little bit. And I think sometimes it's nice to do it because it adds a bit of drama. It adds a little bit of, how should I say, extra narrative, extra story. But if you do it all the time, it really sounds constipated a little bit, you know? Forgive me. Ti-ram-pam, pa-pi-da-ra-ta-tam. So it's 1 and 1. Together it's 1 unit. And then the second iteration. Ti-ram-pam, ta-ti-da-ra-pam-pam. And the third iteration. Ti-ram-pam, ta-ri-da-ra-da, tiki-tiki-tiki-tiki-tiki-tiki, and all that. You understand? So we'll play the game again. You wait a little too much. Sounds very natural to me. Sounded like we're talking, you know? You want to try now yourself, everything? Yeah, I think if you will not wait here too much, if you'll just release a little bit quicker, if you don't hold it, it's, after all, in the beginning, it's an 8 note, right? So that gives you enough acoustic time. The rest there is long enough. The second one is a quarter, maybe you want to wait there. So the storyline. Ti-ra-pam, ti-ra-pam-pam, ti-ram-pam, pam, ti-ra-pam-pam. See, I waited a little bit on the second one, a little bit more than the first. No, it's too late. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then you can wait. And now, no wait. Yeah, it's better like this. And again, I'm encouraging you not to delay so much. There was this kind of issue of overtiming also exists a little bit in the first movement. This is a result of a good artist you are, and you're thinking about acoustics, and you're thinking about separation of things and definition. And sometimes the price of that is the storyline is chopped into little pieces. And I think you paid the price a little bit before. It's better now, okay? Think about that, all right? A couple of other issues here. This is a very interesting moment. Play that again, that. And then piano, and then what? Sforzando, from what? Aha. Before we had a real forte. It's exactly the same part, right? We are repeating that. But there is one change. Instead of forte, now we have sforzando from piano. And you stayed forte, sir. I think you missed the opportunity to do something that the joke of Beethoven, to say, here I started again, I'm doing it exactly the same way. No, I'm not doing it exactly the same way, right? So, ti-ram-pam, pa-pi-da-ra-pam-pam, ti-ra-dam, pa-pi-da-ra-dam-dam. Right? So let's do the second time. A little bit. That's the difference between the first and the second. And the trick is to find how to do sforzando piano and not sforzando forte, and not forte, like you did before. This is the first time. And the second time could be this. A very short, quick attack, and immediately change your mind to piano after that. Don't stay like you did. But see the difference? That's the short attack. Show me that. Just that. T. Yeah. Again. Yeah. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. So that small detail makes a big difference, and I wouldn't play so loud after that. Sometimes it was a bit too much, all of that. So in other words, all these things have to be very playful. It's a very jokey, not one serious bar in the whole movement. Everything is a kind of Beethoven's charm and humor, and nothing serious here. So even those big moments, don't take it too seriously. Yeah, it's not a Wallstein or Appassionata. Not a dramatic movement, all right? Yeah, you know that already. Here maybe a little bit of soft pedal. You almost don't use that. And I think this is a chance to do. All right? Let's do that just here, move to the end before we go back to the first movement. Yeah, this is a good example of how you over time things. Start from here, maybe. I think it's a little bit complicated what you're doing. Ti-ram-pam, pa-di-da-da-da-dam. Ti-ram-pam, pa-di-da-da-da-dam. Ti-da-dim, pa-di-da-da-da-di-da-di-da-da-da-dam. Very operatic, very dialogue-y. Not, don't wait too much, okay? Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, bi-di-da-da-da-da, and immediately. And in, go from here, yeah. It's better to go from, to go from here immediately into that. Not wait too much there, because it's the continuation of the words. It's just jumping an octave. She is saying something, and he continues her words. When you cut it, it doesn't feel like the same mind. Yeah? Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah? So, from there. Immediately. Yeah, I think that's better. Let's just touch this at the end. See what you're doing here, please. So what voice do you want to hear?
A little bit non-legato.
But which voice of the whole thing here? What is your leading voice? Is there a voice more than the rest that you want to hear, or do you hear them all? All voices are equal? Democracy? I don't think it's a democracy, sir. I don't think so. You have to maybe choose one of them to lead you to the cadence. Definitely not the top voice, because it's just C sharp. It's a bit boring, right? Maybe the left. That's not a bad one. And this also. So together. And maybe now the left hand could help. Or maybe the last one could be top more and then a lot more. Right? A little bit. Yeah, something like that. You have to think about these things, because otherwise there is no real meaning for this cadence. It comes as harmonical cadence when you do it, but it's actually also melodic cadence in some way. You understand what I'm saying? Finally, I want to ask you a question about the second movement. What is this? Is this a completely new idea? We never heard it before? Is this the first time we hear this idea?
No.
Where did we hear it before? No, sir. Really? you hear it or not? Yeah? It's exactly that, right? And now it's just dotted, you know, so if I play dotted, then you'll have it, right? Okay, so that ties into what I wanted to hear before. Do you feel like this is two things? It's a one thing, of course. So this is also one thing. It's also one thing, right? And one thing divided with a little cesura, with a little bit rest, right? But it's one thing, it's not two things. So the same goes here, and this is Beethoven's little tricks. He's doing it a lot, especially in the late sonatas. He's bringing the next movement, hints of it, already in the current movement. Where you are right now is giving you a little preview for chapter 2, right? So this is a very significant moment, don't you think? Very wonderful. Good. Let's start again at the beginning, and let's see what else I can do. I love the introduction. Your 4 bars were really beautiful. Will you play from Allegro Manontropo, please? From Allegro. Yeah. Okay, good. So this is the best time that I heard you do this. Before and now, this moment was the best way for the upbeat to the melody. Tiraram was beautiful. Very seamless, very smooth, without any hesitation. Every time you play it here, no, sit. Every time you play it here, there is a little bit of hesitation here and here. And in the recapitulation here. Can you play that for us? See what you're doing here? Maybe just prima volta. Yeah, better. So before I heard tiraram, and now I hear tiraram. And I think it should be just like that. Can you play that again at the beginning? Tiraram. Yeah, beautiful. Why can't it be exactly the same? The same goes here. Could you play that? Glory. Yeah. Not aggressive, but very smooth. But not what you did before. I heard something like this. Something like that. This hesitation is, you know, when you hold the 16 note, it creates such an unnatural way for the melody to start. So I think one of the things that Beethoven wants here is not to start the melody, but to have the melody exist already. So instead of doing this, then he's doing sliding into the melody gently, you know, kind of pushing the boat on the lake very gently, and you are stomping on that boat. So be more gentle in all of this recapitulation, all of these repeat moments. Let's try that one more time. Maybe now you can go on to the seconda volta. Yeah, very good, very good. And I think that's how I would do all of them. All of them. Whether the 16 notes in the left hand or triplets in the left hand, that should not affect the melody in the right hand. All right? Another interesting thing is how you design these things. Again, I liked almost everything that you do, but didn't care so much for this transition from the 16 notes. So I see that you have legato in the right hand, and left hand you're doing this. Why is that?
I think first time I played legato, and second time I played this legato. I think it's like I didn't even notice.
Okay, I notice, you see. I would say both of them legato. Now, this young gentleman is absolutely right. Beethoven wrote legato only on the top line. And in the left hand here. which goes together with, there is no legato written there. So technically speaking, you are right if you wish to do right hand legato, left hand non legato, but musically speaking, I think it makes no sense whatsoever. I think the left hand and the right hand are kind of playing into each other here, reacting to each other, and the legato is a result of this, right? And for that matter, I would probably not wait here like you're doing. I wouldn't wait there. I would just get there. You see what I'm doing? Rather than cutting it. In other words, you're playing the numbers. You're saying to me, this is 16 notes, and these are triplets, and I'm going to show you that. And I'd rather not know. I'd rather just feel the dialogue right and left, and then suddenly they're together. You understand? Let's try that. And bravo. Yeah, bravo. And the next section is also something I want to talk to you about. You really like to wait. That's kind of how you played. Maybe a little more interesting than that. But you were measuring how you hold and how you lift and how you hold and how you lift. This is a very important part of music making, especially German and Viennese style, classical style. You hold it until the rest. You hold it until the rest. You don't just use the pedal, but you really hold it. So, bravo. But I don't really think that you feel what the rests are doing. I think for you, the rests are just time between the chords. And I think the rests are a little bit more important here. I'll give you an example. If there were no rest, then it would be. Suddenly, it's so relaxed and so calm and so, soothing. But with the rest, it's full of tension. See that? And I feel that restlessness a little bit. And you're comfortable. That's because you play the notes and you don't sense the rest. Do you understand what I'm saying? You want to try that? Let's see if we can get some anticipation there. Start from here. Yeah, I think that's a lot better, and that also creates the connection to the next section. So it's not a new thing, in my opinion, like you did. You understand? There is some urgency there. Let's try one more time and then feel. And immediately, yeah. And what's so beautiful about how Beethoven is doing, and you also showed me, is this. What's that? What is that? We had it before. Yes. So it's all interconnected. So your interpretation is actually separation. And I would encourage you to find the incorporation, the way it's all connected. It's really very intelligent of Beethoven to find that little figuration here, right? To find it already there, a preview, right? Good. After that, would you play me from this? Yeah, so I would appreciate if this would be a little bit more articulated, not so legato that you did here. But a little shorter on that last, not quite 8 note, but something that would feel, oh, this is about to come. Ti-yum, pam, ti-yum, not so. There is a slur there, right? At least make sure that it feels like a slur and not. And again. Yeah, go on. Okay, good, good. If you don't mind, just one other comment, and that is here. Play that for me from here. Again, it feels a little bit like you haven't really figured out what to do there. You play, you're a good pianist, so it sounds good, right? But artistically speaking, I'm not sure that you understand what to do there. First of all, you're playing ta-da-dum, 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 ta-da-dum. It's not exactly correct. Beethoven is writing a slur, quarter, a slur, quarter. So it's ta-da-pam, not ta-da-dum, ta. You're really slurring over all of it. You understand? So there is a little definition there, a little kind of point here. Not this, but, and not this, but, see that? It's a little bit more articulated and clear. I think these are words and not just a beautiful line of melody, ta-da-dum, ta-da, but ta-pa-pam, ti-ta-tam, pa-ta-tam. Some words are spoken here. And the second thing, even more important than that, there is a dialogue between he and she. Ah, but we had that before. Ah, not before. We will have it later. Isn't that the same thing where you have the slur, ta-da-tam? Now it's augmented. Otherwise, I would do. It sounds the same, ta-da-tam, right? Here it is again. And then ta-di-da-da-da-dam, pi-ram-pam, ta-di, etc. Now we have just the ta-da-tam, ta-da-tam, just the first part of this. You start to understand now. I see your eyes. And is bouncing it between female and male voices, while at the same time there is this poor viola that is doing ta-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh my God, when is my nightmare over? So let's ignore the poor viola now. No offense to any violist in the hall. And let's just do the dialogue. Which one do you want to do, the female or the male? Which one do you want to be? Female. Nothing wrong with that? Then please start. No, the right is just the viola or the flute. This is the beginning of the female. No. Start from the beginning. She's asking a question first. And now she's saying, you hear it now? Can I be the female now? Yeah? Yeah. So at least the good thing that happened now is that you're a very natural musician. I was bouncing balls at you. Some balls were soft, some balls were hard, some balls were twisty, and you reacted very well. Whether you were the female or you were the male, it doesn't matter. You reacted very well. So there is hope for you. That's really good. The only thing is now you have to be the female, the male, and the viola player. Could you think about that and maybe do it now for us? Yeah, better, of course. And you can think about what energy this has and what realization this one has, what tension this has, what bounce, counter tension or release the other one has. You can figure it out yourself. This is a very important part in designing the music and not just playing well, but really artistically saying something. And the other thing I want to say is that viola, I think, or maybe it's too high for viola, maybe flute, yeah? It has to be a little bit more expressive than what you did, and not just digital. You know what I mean? So a little inflections of sound, of dynamics, secondary to the main dialogue, but still musical. Yeah, not automatic. Yeah, not to play like, well, I don't care about that, but to care about it, all right? One last time, please. Yeah, and then, please, this. That's very important because suddenly we have a symphonic stretto. Instruments are joining that poor flute or wherever that was. The bassoon is coming, or the clarinet, the bassoon, the cello, until we finally get to this. And we slide into the tema again. So don't play non-legato like you did here. It has to be a little bit more intense. Right? And especially the new instruments. The end of that, please. Yeah. So that's generally what you were missing in what is otherwise a very, very good performance already. I would finally say that it's Beethoven that wrote to a friend in a letter that this is maybe one of the most beautiful melodies he ever wrote. You know that statement? So it's clear that he loved it very much. And one should play like he loves it too, to love that as well. And somehow I feel like there is something about the way you play that was a little bit far away in some sense of, standing in front of the Mona Lisa and see, the beauty of it. By the way, it's not such a big deal. I've been there. It's overrated, It's okay, but there are more beautiful things in life. But don't observe it like that and look at it. But try to be a little bit more personal in the way you engage. And until the last note, you have a tendency to do such beautiful diminuendos, I cannot almost hear. I could not hear. All the way, clarity to the end. I mean, love it all the time. Do you want to try one last time? Yeah. And on all these little weights that you're doing, again, try to do less of that. it's the result of very good teaching, I'm sure, and very good studying of the score. But the outcome of this in performance can be a little bit unnatural in some way, because the lines wants to continue and continue and continue. And anyway, you separated enough in your head. Believe me, you did the work. You don't need to extra do it with your fingers. I think that's all I want to tell you about this beautiful piece, and I congratulate you for fantastic work. Bravo. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Well done. Well done. Well done. Who's your team? Who do you study?
I have 3.
very musical, very sensitive. Especially I like the end. The coda was just right, I think. I would wish that some of the elements in the coda that I like so much, we would kind of incorporate or would lend itself to some things earlier. Because what I find is your performance to be a little bit too beautiful, a little bit too complicated, and slightly selfish. But in a good way. You know, every artist should be selfish. You should do what you want. You should do what you love. You should feel the music and do what you feel about it, right? Music should not be, you know, delivering pizza objectively from there to there, you know, from the oven, which is the composer, to the audience, which is the consumer, right? It should never be like that. During the delivery, you should taste the pizza and add some spice to it and change the ingredients and do something so it's really your pizza and not some generic, you know, sorry about this. I don't know why pizza came to me. But with you, and your performance, I should say, it's a little bit difficult to understand what thing it is that you're delivering because it's so personal. And it's so beautiful that I cannot hear Schubert sometimes, but I can hear you. I'd like to hear Schubert a little bit more than you, although I appreciate that you're there all the time, you know, and that's important. So these elements, I call it, a few times I wrote in the text, simple. Simple, simple. I know what you want to do. I get it. You don't have to add timing to it. You don't have to add extra softness, or you have to break the chords here and there, or to do this and that rubato, or this extra super diminuendo. I get it. I understand it. Schubert itself speaks to me through your fingers. You don't have to add so much to it. Is it something that you can relate to? Is it my words? Do they resonate with you? Do you understand? I guess that I'm not the first one to tell you that, maybe? Okay, good. Good. So then change, right? That's one of the things, you know. It's difficult to take away from your involvement of the music, but I think sometimes it's necessary, especially in this style. So let me back up and say, if I would not know this piece at all, or even if I would not, let's say I'm E.T. You know E.T. with the finger, right? E.T. Did you see E.T., the movie? Okay, it's some creature that comes from a strange planet, and everything on Earth here is completely new to this creature, right? And he's very friendly, and he wants to learn. So I'm coming from this strange planet, and I don't know anything about music or life or nothing, and I hear this, and someone says, this is Schubert, then I would think that Schubert is a very romantic composer by the way you play. I would think, okay, this is like Schumann and Brahms and Rachmaninoff and all of them. But you know it's not the case. Schubert is a very interesting composer because one leg is in the classical period, the other leg is the beginning of Romanticism, and he's kind of incorporating both Romanticism and Classicism in his music. And this sonata, this particular sonata, is the end of classical. The beginning of Romanticism will be the next one. That will consider to be the first romantic sonata, but still it's so much classical in so many ways, right? So you're kind of saying goodbye here to the classical period in this sonata, but still not quite romantic as you do. Yeah? I'll give you an example. I heard that once, that you can do that. You can do that. Why do you choose to do that? Why you choose to break the chord? Many people can't hold this chord, but you can, and you choose to break it. Why?
It was pretty much depends on my mood. Sometimes I play like with rolling.
Okay, you see, this is wonderful. It's exactly, I love you. No, I love you because, first of all, you say it very honestly. It depends on my mood. And secondly, it means that your mood, your emotion, your condition dictates your interpretation. And I love that too. I think that should be part of every interpretation. You know what I mean? But I don't think it should be such a dominant part of this particular interpretation and in this particular moment. Because when you break the chord, you create a delayed downbeat. Remember, we talked about the previous in masterclass? Remember? And did I like that? I didn't like that. Because it destroys, or destroys not the right word, it perhaps deforms some of the most important element of the tema, which is the upbeat, dotted upbeat, ti-da-dam, ti-da-dam. And so suddenly it becomes ti-da-lam, delayed downbeat. Why? There is no reason for that if you can hold the chord. If you can't hold the chord, I understand. It's very hard to do without it. But I would just play it like this. And then, so there is a kind of a repeating idea. Ta-da-dam, ta-da-dam, ta. Just like Beethoven, believe it or not, wrote in that sonata, which, mind you, is very much at the same years that Schubert wrote this one. Beethoven, yeah. I don't know if they copy from each other, but it's really close to that opus number. Beethoven wrote in the same summer this sonata, which is a few opuses after what we heard before. And the same summer, Schubert wrote that. So a little bit back from that, it's this sonata and the previous sonata that we heard. You understand? So the same mindset. Maybe they didn't hear each other's composition. But the mindset of repeating the idea again and again and again, the entrance to the tema is as important as the line after that. How many times we have here, ti-da-dam. This is first one. Show me the next one. Okay, good. Show me the next one. Continue. Yes. What about this? In the left hand. Right? Continue. We have many more, right? Right? Don't you see more? Yeah, I think that's also, yeah, that's an extension of ta-da-dam. Now he's repeating it, ta-da-da-da-dam. Remember that we had that also in the Beethoven sonata, deforming it, not deforming, a variation on the idea, doubling the idea, augmenting the idea. Ta-ra-pam, ti-ram-pam, right? Very Bachy idea, by the way. And don't forget the coda, of course. So many of those, right? So if you start already, then I don't know what's the main idea of this piece. The main idea is this. Understand? Try it like that. From the beginning. Yeah. And again. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, exactly like that. And this is very simple, clean, beautiful, and understandable. We understand what Schubert wants, actually. Not your idea, but Schubert's idea. But you deliver it beautifully now, right? A little bit on the dialogue. This is also a Beethovenian thing, remember, the dialogue. So we have this. He writes pianissimo for this. I think that means that now the spotlight moves. And again, so I don't think the pianissimo is what you think about it as kind of a ruling dynamics from top to bottom. But I think the pianissimo just means to say, please be quiet accompaniment, right? And let's hear she and he talk. So why don't you do the she? Feel that now? Feel that? Don't do that, yeah. Yeah, and you can have a little bit of time. Very good, by the way. You can have a little bit of time to show the tema comes back. See that? So it's not just, but and a little bit of timing there. Just on the last C sharp. Hold it a little bit longer.
More like on the beat.
No. On the C sharp before, on the upbeat. Right? Because that's how you start. Right? So try that. Yeah, something like this, something like that. So we can feel, oh, we're back home. The melody comes back again. Beautiful. Again, a little bit too complicated what you're doing here, and a little bit too beautiful. That means it sounds almost like Chopin with the pedaling here. And I would try to be a little bit more careful with the pedal, clean and clear shifts, and not this, but and not this. It almost sounds like you play like this. Almost jumped 150 years into the VC or 200. So a little bit more careful. I would consider maybe even double pedaling here. Otherwise it sounds so. And definitely here, in the change of harmony, don't carry any of the harmonies from first to second harmony, right? Okay, good. I'm happy you did that. So there is a little click-clock sense to it, mechanical. Mechanical beauty, I call it. Schubert likes to do those mechanical. You know that? Yeah. That mechanical beauty, right? It shouldn't be virtuosic, it shouldn't be lazy, and it should be too much pedal, because then you don't see all these little wheels and notches, because it's just covered with pedal. So now you did it well. You know what I didn't like also before? I said, good that you did it again. Look how you're indulging yourself in it. Why do you slow down in the minor?
Trying to make this sounds like a new thing.
Yes, good. Well, again, I repeat the question. Why do you slow down in the minor? Is it the only way to make it new and shiny and warm? Is it the only way? Of course not. There's absolutely no reason to slow down in the minor. It's only because you feel that you want to show, I think you want, not just talking about the A major part, but the A minor before that, you feel like, sorry, the E major. And the A minor before, you feel like it should be contrasting more from the A major, right? So you're softening it, and then you just a little bit there at the end, slowing it down, like it's sad and it's, you know, kind of tired a little bit. There's no need for that, my friend. I heard it. I heard it already. I know what you wanted. You don't need to add extra interpretation for it. You know, extra personality from your persona. The clock nature of it is what you should keep. So I would play like this. Did it feel new? And that's enough, I think. That's enough. You want to keep maybe half una corda for the A major, and then A minor, full una corda. That's it. Don't do anything after that. Try that from here.
And the articulation, I think it should be like even a bit more separate.
I would change the where in the scale.
Also, maybe the left hand.
I would play legato here, but I'm pedaling through the E's. So I'm not doing one pedal, one harmony. But so it's a little bit less cloudy than what you're doing. But it's super legato, of course. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I love it. Do you need anything more than that? I don't think so. Does he need anything more than that? It's good as it is. Believe me. Yeah? And this is a hard point in our relationship because I have to convince you to do less. It's always more natural for in this kind of situation to say, you should do, you should do, you should do, and not to take away from your artistic freedom. That's always harder. But believe me, it's better in this case. Believe me. It's good for you. A couple of other issues or points to mention, not issues, just points. Sometimes you are a little bit reluctant to engage in forte or in crescendo at that moment. He's writing accent here and not. When you play, it sounds so, you know, Mettner. It's a little bit more classical with the accent. It starts to be, right? So that's a very, very classical motif. Pa, pa, pam, or ta, ta, right? And not ta, ra, ra, all right? And then this crescendo, please. A little bit more vigor. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so in this case, I would go to the, if there is no accent, I will try to go to the middle of the bar. Pi, pa, pa, pi, ram, ta, da, di, da, da, ti, ram. As opposed to pa, ta, ta, ti, ta. When you have an accent, then do it where it's written. But here you don't have it, so I suggest. And now you have accent. And later on, right? You understand the difference, right? Mm-hmm. And again. Yeah. You may want to have this kind of accent in here, in the alto. It's a little bit more bass clarinet kind of accent rather than a, yeah, try that. It's a bit more dark like that. Now change, first finger. Yeah. Yes, yes. In many ways, this is an interesting choice of key for Schubert, you know, A major. And I think the general idea for the whole sonata is a clarinet rather than any other instrument. I wouldn't play it with violin. I would play it. A major is perfect for a clarinet. And I think this is the point where clarinet is starting to creep, to come into the mainstream of music. You know, Beethoven already did, and Mozart already did, and Schubert, it's time for that to happen. So it feels like a clarinet playing for me here. That kind of, you know, beautiful human voice that the clarinet can produce. If you don't mind, a little bit on the development section. So this is piano, not it's quite expressive now, not pianissimo anymore, right? So more sound, please. Yes. Yeah, good. This is a little bit difficult to do, but he's writing small rests at the end of each phrase, which you don't do. That means for you, everything is connected. But there is a rest here. And it's difficult because you're in the middle of the phrase of the other hand, right? You hear that? So that enhances the dialogue. Better. Yeah. Yeah, good. You know. One time maybe, but every one of them? Do you feel like this is the right thing on every one of them? No, I wouldn't do. I would do maybe on one of them. And I would exchange it with a little bit of rubato here and there, more direction. You're very, very strict here. You can be a little bit more free. There's a little bit of something, a big plan, rather than you know. So I didn't break one of them, even, right? Did it sound boring or repetitive? There you go. So it's possible. Time now. Bravo. I would stay. I would stay. Let that come really far from you, the top line. Si di da 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 di da di da di da. No. Yeah. No, and try to be a little bit more threatening there. Otherwise, you can't really hear. Yeah. This extended cadence. And again. Right?
What do you think about the paddling notches whole section?
I don't mind that you'll have a lot of pedal there, but I want to hear this as the leading voice, and this is far away. And then maybe the shorter pedal here, like you did. But what I didn't like is that you were kind of waiting a little bit. And I think it's a very elegant Viennese snare, without hesitation. Ti-yam, pa-ram, and not ti-yam, ta-ram. In other words, we don't breathe between these, all right? Ti-ram, pa-ri-ti. Good. And now don't break. Di da dum pa di. Do. Yeah. It's a little bit under tempo because we stopped so many times, but it's much more detailed and correct stylistically, I believe. And it's equally beautiful to what you did before. So you only gain. You never lost here anything else. As I said, I really like the coda, so now it's time maybe for the second movement, sir. remind me, how should I call you?
Minchin.
Minchin. You are a very interesting pianist. I really loved so much more the second movement than the first movement. And I decided I would call you Minchin Mr. Smooth. Because everything you do is so smooth and legato, and just like in the first movement, sometimes a little bit too much pedal, but it's very connected, and you're really Mr. Smooth. You like that kind of creamy sensation of sound and melodies, and it's wonderful. I just feel like some texture, even if it's a bit non-legati or staccati, it will only add to your interpretation. For example, you like to play what can I do? Schubert wrote staccato there. So that beautiful, elegant Viennese dance that exists there. You show it in a kind of very noble, but you fail to see the folk in it, the simplicity, the simple people dance, you know, the youth in it. Yeah, you're a gentleman, so everything is smooth and slick. But I think a little bit more attention to texture would just enhance what you're doing. And this is really all through the first and the second and the third movement. But I have to say, the second movement was really beautiful, really. So there's nothing wrong about what you did. It's just that you can enhance it and add to it a little bit more variety, I think. Yeah, and especially here, this is very important. But all the problems that we had in the first movement are completely gone. Meaning the overtiming, the kind of this over-romanticism that we talked about. I don't feel like it's here anymore. So I don't know if you thought about. I don't feel there is a problem like that.
I was holding back.
Yes, you see. See, this clever person, you know, really clever. And honestly, I don't think it took away from anything, you know. What I would suggest is that the second movement could be just a little bit more cantabile. And it's a very difficult dilemma here. You know the word dilemma. It's a difficult thing to think here, to solve. Because Schubert is writing pianissimo. But on the other hand, there is a melody that needs to be expressed. And if you play so softly here, with una corda, right? Then we really can't hear anything. I would, on this piano maybe, may I try?
Yeah.
Try to open a little bit more. Half una corda is enough. He likes this moment, you know. It's gone, you know. I played it too fast. Forgive me, Schubert. But just for you to see that little additional beauty that just flies away. He didn't have to do that, you know. He could. He didn't have to write anything else. Or just connect directly to the next phrase. Not bad. But he's having this as a fleeting thought, as something that escapes you. So because of that, that will be the softest moment for me in the phrase. And because of that, I can't play so soft in the beginning. I have to keep intensity to know when it's not doubled and now double. Double, not double. And then, see the difference? So it's a lot more rich and more storytelling than what you did. Having said that, you played very beautiful as well. You know, I just think mine is a little better. You okay?
I was trying to be more safe. You know, sometimes the first chord just scares me.
Why?
Because I was afraid to have like.
You will never have that. I'm 100% you'll never have that. Play half una corda and play piano, not pianissimo. Yeah, so I'll tell you what I'm more afraid of. That's usually my fear. I'm afraid of starting too soft. That's always my fear in soft movements. I'm afraid to start where I don't have enough sound to develop the melody. I start in a secret, such a secret, that there cannot be any cantabile anymore. There cannot be any connectivity or legato or any lyricism, because I'm so careful that, where is my sound? Oh my God, what did I do? I'm always more worried about that. I'm never worried about starting too loud. I don't know why, because I'm a big person with big sound, so I can control everything between piano to fortissimo quite naturally. But from piano to pianissimo and sississimo, all these emo, those p, I'm always worried about starting too soft and then not having anywhere else to go. So worry about that. Don't worry about the other scenario, please. Yeah, that's a beautiful sound. The second thing is how these are connected. So I think that you're feeling about the repetitive note, repeating note as such. P, tom, pom, 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 pom. So you feel B flat, C, sorry, and then La. All the La connects to the F sharp. Yes. C, La, 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 Fa. Then again, Re, Fa, Re, Si, La, 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 Mi. Right? That's how you think. I don't think like that. I think Si, La, 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 Fa. Si, La, 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 Mi. Ta, ta, ta. Bravo. Yeah, okay, good. Stop here. Tell me what's the difference.
Has more momentum and more vitality.
And yet it's the same tempo. How interesting it is, right? Because in my interpretation, the snare, the appoggiatura, is a unit on its own, and then it yields some kind of, from the second note, it yields some kind of reverse echo. Si, la, ba, 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 ba. And that goes to the next bar. So in my version, these are connected. Ti, da, 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 di. It's one unit. In your si and la, 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 fa are two different things. Understand? So of course there is a little bit more vitality in it, and a little bit more, and it's also a lot more interesting, I think. Not too fast. 2, 3, doubling. Single. Again. Yeah. Unfortunately, we only have a short time, so I'll tell you what else you can do. Here is a moment where, if you wish to take time, because I feel the figuration is a little bit, so it should be not bad, Clementi, right? But the romantical element is that. So just a little bit of time there would show that the pattern is changing from classical to romantic. You understand? Try that. Ti ta ti ta. So this, a little slower than the rest. Ti ta ti 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 da ti da. Yeah. You see, this is tiny, and a secret between you and I. Nobody else would know about it. Believe me. Yeah. But it feels very, very different when you do that. I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure. It's so much. Maybe a little bit, but not so much like you did, you know? So again, I would not do. I wouldn't do that, right? So it's all about the measure of how much. But not to do anything, I think it's a missed opportunity. Something is needed here. This is another example of that. And he actually writes that fork there, the crescendo diminuendo there is to breathe. That's it. Yes, exactly. And finally, if you just indulge me with this. Really. Yeah, that's it. It really needs that freshness, you know? It needs that let's go to being a child again, like Haydn does in all his last movement, like Beethoven often do in his last movement, you know, not just the drama and the storm and the virtuosity and brilliance, but sometimes let's be children again. And I think this is one of those moments. Let's be children again. And even this, I think this dance that you had here was a little bit too, strong-minded for me. I don't know if this is kind of the character. I think it's more like a young child that pretends to be an adult. Look at me, I'm my father, like that, you know. But he's not, because immediately after that, he's becoming a child again, right? So it's just a game, a little theatrical moment. Feel that? Yeah, a little bit less pedal here. Pam. No, una coda. And then, perfect. This is, look, this is the Viennese charm. This is why I like the style very much. And next to after me will come Jan Jiracek, who is an expert in this, and he is a Viennese boy, gentleman. And so, you know, this is it's very difficult to nail. They're very difficult. It's like you have to put it thread in the needle, you know. If it's too dramatic, it's not that. If it's too playful, it's not this also. It's some kind of hybrid of certain moods and certain feelings in good taste, in good fun. If it's too romantic with so much pedal, that's also not it, right? But thank you for listening and for agreeing with me. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're wonderful. Really, bravo. Well done. And now, Schumann. Lenny, right? Should I call you Lenny?
Call me James.
James. What do I have? Oh, this is somebody else. Sorry, that's not mine. James. Okay, James. Good. You seemed like a little bit you're unhappy with your performance when you finished. Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't know how to adjust this bench at first, so I was feeling really uncomfortable.
Was it too low for you or
It was too high.
Too high for you. Okay. You should blame the person before you. No, it's okay. But you should ask, and then I would give you a hint how to do it. It's not so difficult. Yeah, but I thought that there were some really good moments and then some not so good moments, and it's kind of like a mixed bag, your performance, you know. Obviously, I know what you want. You're very musical. You're very clear. I understand that. And not always what you want is coming out, and a lot of time it's overly done. Again, I would say there is a little bit too much timing, especially in the coda, the last part, the finale. It's a march, you know, a fanfare march of some sort, you know, kind of victory march. Yeah. But when you're playing, I feel like maybe we drink a little bit too much beer, and that march is kind of starting to move left and move right. And especially just right there at the last page, there is so much movement, so much fast, slow, that we kind of lose the meter, and I think that's important to keep, right? But we'll get there. I want to start with what I really loved. I really loved this. I thought that was very beautiful, and especially the way you distributed evenly the fifth. And I was kind of floating in the air, and I thought to myself, wow, this is really beautiful and appropriate and just delicate. But then in the forte, I would encourage you to do that the same. And what can happen here is that you have that middle voice, and that can divide it into some kind of crazy six. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that should not happen, yeah? So it should be something like this. So it should not be evenly distributed. Could you just do the right hand there? See how it does? Yeah, something like that, but emotional. You know, sometimes when you play your fortes, you're doing this kind of sound. I would encourage you to work from here. Yeah, and I don't think you even need this kind of approach to sound making, because this is not that kind of forte. Maybe in the last maybe, right? But you save it for there. And here it's a very painful fortissimo. Right? Yeah, it's a lot better. It's a lot better. So would you play it together? You see what happened? That kind of attack. Yes. You see what happened? It became triplet. It started beautiful. So keep that irregularity, that irregular asymmetric or odd rhythmical figuration of 5 is just heartbreaking, because it's really human, you know. When you're crying, you're not doing hoo hoo hoo, ho ho ho, hoo hoo hoo. You don't do that. You do ho 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 ho, like that. You know, you're crying like that. It's irregular, and that's so beautiful how he's portraying, how he's translating human emotion into notes with this rhythm. So if you think about that. And last thing to say is that he's writing poco a poco morendo at the end. Could you tell us what is morendo?
Like dying.
Yes, yes. It's a very interesting thing to write because like smorzando, disappearing in some way, he didn't write ritenuto diminuendo. He didn't write. It would be very, very appropriate for him to write that. And you're doing ritenuto diminuendo. But he didn't write it. He wrote morendo. So what is the difference, ask me? Ask me.
What's the difference?
Yeah, they're very good. You're clever. I don't know. But I know you did ritenuto diminuendo. And I don't think you did morendo. I think you were thinking about how to slow down and to make it softer and softer. You didn't think about the idea of dying out, which is in my book a little bit less on the ritenuto than the diminuendo. So more diminuendo, less ritenuto. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying, right? So to feel like it's going away from you rather than slowing down in front of your eyes until it's dead. But, you know, like you send the dead on a boat, send him away into the ocean and watch the boat disappear from your eye. And I think that's more appropriate than what you did. So. Sorry about the wrong note, but you understand. So what not to do is this. Not to do that, because otherwise he would write ritenuto, right? So try that, please. Somewhere from before, maybe. Yeah. Maybe here. Keep the tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, yeah. So it's very difficult to modulate this, right? Right? And when I told you, okay, keep the tempo, then suddenly you're starting to do that. That's not good and that's not good, right? So again. And most important is not to slow down to a halt, but naturally to kind of distribute the notes until the last one. Even. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't rush. Yeah, I think I can accept that. Yeah, that's pretty good. But anyway, I loved that one. That was my favorite of all of them. And if you don't mind, I'd like to touch the beginning and every one of them, but maybe more the beginning than anything else. Could you find it for me? Maybe. There you go. Okay. Yeah, thank you. What edition is this, by the way? Some Russian edition that I don't know?
Yeah, I found it online myself.
Aha. There are a bunch of stuff there that is not part of the original.
Yeah, the appendix. Oh.
There is a bunch of stuff here like pedaling and other comments that are written here and other marks that are not part of the original. And it dilutes a little bit. It's changing many things for you. And so what I would recommend is that you find the edition in the store. No, not now, yeah? Maybe you have it already. Oh, you do have it, okay. Because I read and I saw some things that you're doing there that I didn't care for, and then I saw it in the score, and I thought, it's here. But I don't remember it from studying myself this piece. So let's start again from the beginning, please. Let's see what we have. Yeah, you see, this is exactly, I think, the core issue here is how you see the beginning, what you see in it, you know. What is that for you, the beginning?
I think it's a funeral march.
Then, okay, good, you have the right answer, but why you don't play like that? Yeah, there is something very soft and hesitant about the way you start. Yeah, and not full enough, and serious enough, and heavy enough. With probably one of the heaviest keys that I can ever imagine. Right? It's almost like you play this. Maybe. But this. See the difference? So all these inside notes, so important. The way he orchestrates the left hand, and not this, but this. The G there, the fifth. And maybe also think about what orchestration you want to have this. If it's not piano, then what would play that?
I think orchestra tutti, maybe strings.
No, I wouldn't.
Wind.
Yes. I would put it in the wind. Brass and woodwinds mix. I think it feels like this kind of like that. So it's impossible for them to play so soft, you know. They need that first send of sound, you know. That's why he didn't write pianissimo also. And lastly about that, where do you want to go? Is this your target? This is where you want to go? I agree. You have all the answers. So now. Right? Okay, a couple of problems, but we're eating into it, yeah? I would do this on everyone and not just transfer your hand robotically from one position to another, but think about the way they would sing, they would play, and not like that, right? It would be weird. So human interaction with the keyboard and with the text itself. Second thing, I would not delay that, because then you create a fake melody, which is really not written, right? This should be right on time. So thirdly, I would make sure that all these notes are in pedal on the last amen. Amen, right? So your ah is very beautiful, and then you have a min. I don't think God would love that, right? So all the notes start from the bass, and then you'll have it, all right? Do you understand?
I have one.
Yeah, sure, even two.
That would disconnect the...
But then you can fake it a little bit. See what I did? I take the pedal from the first G, of course, I can do this. I can hold it. But, okay. It's a good problem to have, right? In this case. But there are solutions for that. And I've heard people with half the hands of yours, the size I mean, just playing it legato completely and all the notes in it. So there are solutions, okay? Hands, arm, yeah. And more. No, you delayed. Start a little bit more peaceful and a bit more quiet. Okay. Yeah, so all of this has that kind of issue of breaking chords. I hear it, I hear, all of this. I don't want to hear that, you know. I want to hear the melody with a beautiful choral accompaniment. Right? So try to find a way to kind of the elasticity of the hand. Feel that, right? And start here. And be careful about that, because I don't think that's the main issue. It's maybe the horn. I wouldn't even do it so much, but just to feel the multiple polyphonic lines. So this, right? To feel the longevity of that alto or tenor. One more time from the beginning. We can do better. Don't delay. No, that's dirty, yeah? I want to ask you a question. Why do you do this? Why does it come like that?
I think it's subconscious.
It's bad habit, yeah? Subconscious. See how soft and how kind of like a harp. Brum, brum, brum. Da-da-dum, da-da-dum. Play just from here. Yes. Yeah, it's twice better already. Twice better. Just clean the pedals as much as you can. And let's move on to this. Yeah, so you really like these kind of double, triple phrases. And you start again. But what does Schumann write there? Tell the audience. What does he write here to here?
Double stop.
Where do you see double stop?
I mean...
No, that's nothing. That's absolutely your edition is doing it. That doesn't exist in the... Your edition make the double stop, so you're double stopping. Doesn't exist, sir. It doesn't exist. In fact, what does he write that supports that it's my idea of one phrase? What does he write there? See this? What does he?
Here.
A crescendo. Not a hairpin like that. A crescendo. To what? Yes, not even to the downbeat, but further away from the downbeat. So Schumann's idea is to connect it from here to finish here, end of snare, and then this. And now a new phrase. How much time?
I think
That's way too much.
Oh, really?
Yeah, way too much. count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How much do you want? 2 beats, 3 beats? I mean, I'm mathematical here. I should not be. But how much, approximately? This is exactly a half a note, right?
Yeah.
So how much more do you want?
So one beat.
1 extra beat?
Yeah.
Let's try that. 2, 3, 4. Now, how much did you do?
Way more than that.
Listen, if I wouldn't look at my watch, it was like 30 seconds, or I don't know, I'm joking, yeah? So I'm not even saying that 1 extra beat is enough. You can have 2 extra beats. But it should feel like you're going somewhere, even though you're in fermata. That is not a fermata for the sake of waiting, but it is a fermata that yields, that invites their resolution. And not just, oh, I think just about right now, you know what I mean? So try that. No, start from before so we can hear the phrase. Yeah, and then that was much better. And then the question is, what should you do after the fermata? Like you did, ta la la, la ti da da da, or is it the same person that sings it?
It's the same person.
Then why do you disconnect the sound? Ti da 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 di. I'll give you another way to look at this fermata. Play the fermata and listen to the long note. And when you're ready to engage with the second note, the second la, after the la, strong A of the fermata, the next A, when you're ready to engage in this diminuendo cantabile lyrical moment, then it's the right time, in legato. So when the A is ready, when it has been dissolved into a beautiful piano cantabile, then you can do it. You understand? So it's smoothly into it. You hear that? Yeah, this is another issue. Si, la, stop, sol, why?
Because I don't know if this is the...
There is a slur here. Si, la, sol is in slur, not si, la, sol. Right? That's first thing. The second thing is there is ritenuto. Okay, I agree. But there is no ritenuto and then cesura and then sol. It's not tam, pam, sol. It all has to be kind of, logically slowing down into the sol. Si, la, a, sol. And no, si, la, a, sol. That's not ritenuto. That's halting, that's stopping, right? And the second thing is this crescendo that you're doing that is written, and I commend you for doing this because it's so hard to do this crescendo. But you're doing it so much. This crescendo is just a question. The question is this. Here is the opening. This is the tema. This is the subject matter. Do you want to hear the variations to come? Pam, pam, padam, pam, pam, first variation. It's an invitation for the first variation to arrive. So, with a polite and curiosity, yes, but not rudely. Where is it going to do this? Right? One last time. Si, la, sol. little bit more crescendo. Si, la, la, sh. Good, wait, don't move. And suddenly, yeah, good. La di da la di dum, pim pom pom pim da da lam pom. That's the end, the second part of the tema. Di da da dum, you're doing bom pom 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 pom. Good. Lum pom. I don't hear. That's super important, I think. Then. So the end of the second tema is hiding under the new entrance. Your job is to show me that. Very good. Bum, bum, bum. Yes. Much, much, much better. Much better. And I wouldn't play it faster than this. Oh. This is fast enough. A second variation or second etude. It's a very interesting thing how he's suddenly using these repetitive chords, which makes it very, very hard for us. There are two issues about that, the way you do it at least. First of all, I would say the repetitive chords are repetitive, and they should not be. They're there for a reason. The reason is to create slight agitato. Poco stretto, a little bit of dynamic movement and a little bit of seesaw of some sort, a bit of stormy sea. Yeah, not too much. But if you don't do anything, it becomes very mechanical and robotic. The second issue with this is that because it's in triplet, yum, pum, 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 right? Then you're very careful to play the melodic dotted note, pa-dim, pa-pam, but you overdoing it, and then it becomes 64 notes. Yum, pum, 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 ti, ta, 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 tram. And then you change the character because of that. The melody should still be ya-dim, ba-bam, and not ta-dam, right? So this is a bit of a dissonance in your playing. It's not completely balanced like that. So what I would suggest is just like many of the composer, right? This kind of playing or. Yeah, I would never play. Always try to move it around the melody. A bit more push and pull. The same here. And not to play like that, okay? Not too much dynamics, but more of that rubato here and there to feel, and not to push all the time or to pull all the time, but the push-pull, yes? Clean. Tam pa pam no ti tram ta ti. So not because it immediately becomes very military. Tam pa di like that. And I think there should be human element here. Ti da da ti da da. A bit more pleading and begging. Yeah. No, ti pa pa. It's too fast. The 16. Yes. 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 Ti ta dam, ti ta ta ti lom pa bi. No, the last one. Ti lo lom. Don't rush this, yeah? Yes. Again. Continue. Careful now. See, this is too fast. That's what I'm saying. It's not speaking enough. Fix that, okay? Because otherwise it's very, it's meaningless. It really doesn't talk at all. The reason this is a variation, it's not the long notes, it's this short note. Ti, lom, pa, pa. Ti, da, da, di. That's the reason it's there. Okay, that was quite good. The fourth one, would you play? Because we only have 5 minutes, so I don't know how we came to 5 minutes. Could you not play with so much pedal there? Because it's written with pedal here. I don't think Schumann really wrote pedal there at all. So, bum, 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 bum. Yeah, and I would even try to play a little shorter because I think the whole adds another 16 notes to at least of sound. So, pop, pop, bim, and lighter. Pop, pop. That's better. That's much better. That's great. That's great. That's really, really great. Let's go to one of my favorite, the horns. Play that. So I would always try here to feel a little bit more the togetherness. Sometimes it doesn't really, I don't really hear. I think this is one of the things that happened in the beginning. We had this, and now we have this. Of course, a little bit more powerful and more victorious, but still I need to hear it really much better. So the trick is not to hear the top or the bottom, but the inside notes. Yeah, that's it. That's much better. That's much better sound. And don't rush this. Again, this is not a variation to play fast. And this also goes there at the end. That's my favorite part, you know. No, because it's hard, of course, but I'm imagining to the horns now joins trombones and tubas. And the poor guys, doing that. But they're all together, absolutely synchronized, especially on the upbeat, downbeat. Tutti at the end, brass galore. Yeah? And finally, let's just talk about this before everybody goes home. Let's do this variation, please. Yeah. Okay, give me the character, what you feel here.
I think it's very, very personal and very like a monologue.
Okay, good. What is this form? Do you know what is it based on?
No.
This is French overture.
Oh, okay.
This is French overture. So it has some royalty to it, some heft, some importance to it, and some kind of walking slowly from here to there, and of course statement, as you said, monologue, it's personal. Now, I would try to be very careful about the rhythm here. I would not do this. But I would try to really differentiate. Ta-da-da-dum, ram, ta-ta-ta-tam, ram, ta-ta-ta-tam, and not to smear it together here, yeah? And I think you're making too much effort about that. There is no need for that. Etc. And it just goes on and on and on. Almost, I would say, emotionless in some way. It has emotion, but it's coldly continuing to go on and on and on. You understand what I mean? Think about the Baroque. Don't think about the Romantics in this moment. Yeah, one more time. G, T. I wouldn't call what you're doing marcatissimo. I would call it semi-marcato. Marcatissimo. Yeah, and I would not accent this. I would accent every one of them. Yeah, so pay attention to that because it's the same issue that you had with broken chords in the tema. You're delaying a little bit. Because it's technically difficult to do it, right? So finish and not, because it ruins the rhythmical identity of this. And finally, I will leave you with some tip between me and you nobody should hear. Okay? Look at the middle section. Of course not to do. Because I think the organ comes here, not the piano.
Okay.
Ah, we are into Baroque.
I never thought of it.
Try it again. Try the middle pedal. No, you don't understand anything. You didn't hear it. See that? Playing too fast, of course, right? Okay. Hear that?
Yeah.
But don't tell anybody. Okay? I know, we're done. So, chord off, and hold this a little longer. No. Chord off, then take. So, play, and then take it. Take the middle. Keep it. No. Do it again. I'll help you. Keep it.
Oh.
Keep it. Yeah. Off now. Off, yeah. Off with it. Now to take. Middle. Yes. I would do that. Yeah. Okay. So now you start to have fun, right?
Yeah.
Now you enjoy the masterclass, right? Because you have a new toy, right? A middle pedal toy. Use it. This is wonderful for here. And because you're going to play with repeats, then maybe this is a good chance to add it. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Thank you all for listening. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bravo. Well done. Well done.